Many of you getting in touch. It will take me too long to read some of the messages. Saluting some of the stories that Paul Ince, alongside Paul Carl Robinson, have been telling this morning with us on talkSPORT. Paul, you mentioned you left Manchester United. You mentioned you joined Inter Milan. You mentioned that Sir Alex would have wished you to stay and came in at the last moment. But we know history tells us you went to Inter Milan and you played alongside the likes of Nicola Berti, Zamorano, Djorkaeff, Zanetti, Roberto Carlos. What a team they had. And thereafter, what happened? You leave Inter Milan and you join Liverpool. And of course, inevitably, along the way, Liverpool were going to be playing Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. And there was a famous team talk in 1998 when Sir Alex addressed the United squad and said, yeah, there's going to be a certain Mr. Ince playing for them, and we better be aware of that.
I want you to go back 3 years ago, how we lost the league. We lost the league at Anfield, but not listening to the instruction about McManaman. And they're giving Ince the licence to just go and attack without any defensive duties. But if he tries to bully you, enjoy it. Don't let him attempt to bully you. Right? You just make sure you're ready for him tomorrow. And that's all you need to worry about him. It's big time Charlie bit. It's against men, am I right? And that's all you need to worry about him. Is he going to do Redknapp? That is a problem for them, by the way. I don't think they have a chance what yous have got. Any questions?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I've never heard that before, you know. First time I've heard it.
So you get a special mention, and that says something about you as a player that Sir Alex had to give you a special. Can you remember what happened in that game?
Actually,
1998. You're against United. I'm not sure, but he certainly was clearly concerned about you.
Cop End.
I scored at the Cop End. That was an FA Cup game, wasn't it?
Oh.
But I remember scoring for Liverpool at Old Trafford. I don't know. But what I do know, he seemed very concerned about me.
What I'd also say as well, he's not forgotten about that Norwich game because he's still bringing up your lack of defensive capabilities.
I missed that bit.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Funny, isn't it?
But listen, I think, Glenn, I'm not sure what... I wish Simon Jordan was sitting here now because I'll ask him what the definition of Big Time Charlie means. Because I'm not sure what it actually means, but I know that when big time means you're in the big time, and when you play for the teams that I've played for, and when you play for the teams that, like Manchester United, you are big time Charlie because you're playing for the biggest teams. And when you think about the words they use, the word bully, bully was not really the word I would use. It's probably intimidating, and the great Man United sides used to intimidate teams. You know, the presence, the likes of Mark Hughes and Robson and Roy Keane.
Yeah.
They used to intimidate Steve Bruce.
And he knew you were like that.
And the thing is, he knew we were all like that. He knew we were all like that. Not just me, but obviously, if Roy Keane had gone from Man United to Liverpool, he'd been telling me exactly the same thing about Roy Keane.
You've no regrets on going to Liverpool after Inter Milan. You said you scored at the Cop End against United.
And celebrated.
There are probably some Manchester United fans listening to this lunch and will think, well, that there and then he committed the cardinal sin.
No, I think I always kind of felt, and I've said this time and time again, and it's no disrespect to both teams. I would never gone from Manchester United straight to Liverpool. I would never gone from Liverpool straight to Manchester United. That's a cardinal sin. Okay, when I left to go to Inter Milan, I didn't want to leave Manchester United. Okay, when I came back from Inter Milan, Man United had first refusal on me. So I could easily come back to Man United. They turned that decision not to take me back, okay?
They had the option to take you back, they didn't do
Man
it.
United had the option to take me back, okay? Whether I would have gone back, I don't know. But all I know is that I had 2 years at Inter. I didn't want to go back from Inter. I had another 3 years left on my contract. Obviously, this family situation was difficult, so we came back. We just signed Ronaldo for the next season, and I wanted to play with him, but I obviously didn't get the luxury of doing that. Peter Robinson came over from Liverpool. We sat down, we had lunch. We agreed that was the way I was going to go. I loved the Northwest. I spent 6-7 years there at Man United. I knew Jamie Redknapp, I knew Robbie Fowler, I knew David James. So it was just like easy to settle in.
Was there any doubt in your mind that it was the right decision?
None whatsoever. Because I've always looked at the Liverpool fans as knowledgeable people, and just as a city, they look after their own. And as soon as you become their own, they take you in. Irrespective of whether you played here, whether you played there, they take you in. And from day one, I had not one problem with the Liverpool.
So there's
people.
nobody better to ask. Which is a bigger club, Manchester United or Liverpool?
Liverpool?
I think you're trying to get me killed here, Jim. Listen.
Nobody better to ask.
I think when you kind of look at the history of both clubs and you go back from the 80s when Liverpool were basically winning everything.
And the 70s.
70s, sorry.
And 80s.
And 80s, yeah. I forgot you're a Liverpool fan, sorry. And then go back to United, that was in the 90s. There's always been that rivalry between the two. Liverpool are global, and I don't think it's just as a football club, but when you go back to the Busby Babes, that affected the whole world. What happened then, and that's why Liverpool are going to be bigger than at most teams. When things that make United don't go well, they're back of the page, they're front of the page, So I think there's a lot of combinations. Liverpool, I love both, paying for both. I thought the fans at Liverpool were they're acknowledgeable fans. You never see Liverpool fans boo their players. I've watched a lot of games. They very rarely boo their players, and Man United fans are too. So it must have been difficult for Liverpool fans to accept me, but they did. And I still live in the world to this day. And all I do when I look back at my career is that every game, I wasn't the most talented player, but every game I like to think I'll commit myself 110%. And
in terms of expectation, which shirt, United or Liverpool, which shirt weighed heaviest?
It was different.
Some questions.
Mate United shirt, I always felt the expectation at Mate United was to win. And like it is now. When you go to Mate United, you're expected to win and win and win. Not to say that wasn't the case at Liverpool. The difference when I went to Liverpool was that the players didn't have the mentality to want to win a title. Listen, we had a very, very good side. Fowler, McManaman, Redknapp, Patrick Berger, okay? But we didn't have the mentality and the desire to do what it took to win a title.
Yeah.
And that was the only difference in between the two.
Does that frustrate you today?
It does. It really, really does. Because I mentioned Robbie Fowler, I mentioned Michael Owen with David James, with some fantastic players. And I'm just trying to compare. I don't compare the two clubs as clubs. I compare the times that I went into each club and the players' mentality and attitude to try and do something, And when you look at these two mega clubs, to think they haven't won a title for 15, 20 years ago and Mate United, it's such a shame. But I enjoyed both my time at both those clubs.
Well done, Paul. Do you think he answered the question, Carl?
No.
Which is a bigger club?
He didn't answer that, did he?
No.
That's one word answer.
No.
Well, listen, Liverpool fans will say Liverpool's the biggest club. Mate United fans will say Mate United's the biggest club. The bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned,
I think what's interesting, he went into
West Ham's the biggest club.
What time's the break? Go to break, please.
The break is now. It's 12:30. Well done, Paul.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.